All right. Welcome to Masculine Geek number 220, Fireside Chat, some random geekery. Robert is at a Cheap Trick concert. I think that's starting now, actually, or maybe about an hour ago. And TJ is busy with a house project, so you're stuck with me. And I'm pretty tired tonight, so we're going to make it an early night. I don't really have much to talk about. I was going to interact with some people in the chat if they had any random questions. Otherwise, this is going to be an early night. We have one person watching. Fantastic. Chris, what's up, brother? How are you on this lovely Wednesday evening? I think Drew may be joining, but I'm not sure. So it's very rare to not have at least three of us on. Mike, what's up, everybody? All three of you. The usual, huh? Oh, here's Jesse. What's up, Jesse?
What's up?
All right, you're in the show. We're live.
Oh shit!
Because when I run the show solo, which has never happened before, we are always on time. That's one of
for today.
Do what?
You got a topic?
Not really. Originally, I had planned or wanted to plan on having Drew's game run tonight, but Robert was not going to be able to make it. He's, as I was saying, he's at a Cheap Trick concert, and TJ is doing some house stuff. So, what's up, Blake?
Speaking of the man, there he is.
And there's Mr. DM himself. You're live and in the show. How you doing?
Awesome.
Fantastic.
Exhausted, but doing great.
Well, that's good.
But I'd rather be wiped out and have too much to do than not have work. So I shouldn't complain.
That's a good point. It's
a good tired.
Absolutely. Yeah, a righteous tired is always a good tired. So
what did I miss?
Nothing. We got started on time. Nobody was late. Or no one was holding us up. We're not going to name any names, but their initials are. No, we won't even go there. I was saying earlier, I originally wanted to have your game run, but TJ's working on house stuff, and Robert is at a Cheap Trick concert. So I'm going to make sure everybody is there, especially for the next
Cheap Trick concert, or is he with a bunch of cheap tricks?
Well, you could say that both could exist at the same location. So it's possible that it's happening all at once.
That is a probability, maybe.
Indeed. We don't have a formal. This is kind of like a wing it kind of thing, but I did want to ask you about the origins of your D&D campaign, Drew. Because you're doing it from scratch, and I don't know if you ever really told us the story of how you came up with the idea for the mythology behind it. I mean, I know it's based on Norse mythology, Icelandic mythology, but how did that come about?
Okay, so the idea was to just have this be a completely sandbox. Actually, let me take a step back. A lot of this sprang from my following of Jeffro Johnson and our stuff with him eventually, and learning how to run a proper AD&D campaign. And I know that we couldn't do the one-to-one time with this format, but something that I absolutely loved about the way they run the Trollopolis campaign, and that I learned about how to actually run a proper campaign, is that you do not plan any kind of overarching story or plot. You are not a playwright. You are not, as a dungeon master is not a playwright. A dungeon master is not a novelist. A dungeon master is not somebody who directs the players in having their PCs act out some story that they have in mind. You never fucking have any kind of end in mind.
Yeah.
You create a world and you populate it with interesting creatures and NPCs and places to explore. And then you have interesting things, conflicts, of course, because that's where adventure comes from, happening in the world. And then you let the players decide what their PCs are going to do with it, and you react to that. The players and their PCs should have complete autonomy in the campaign to accept or reject whatever you have in mind for storybooks. Now, if you have interesting places and you have interesting things going on, you can say, okay, over here, these people want this. These are their motives, and these are the kind of things that they're doing to get it. And these are the things that are in their way. These other people want this. This guy over here wants this. Everybody has certain things
kind
that
of
they
like
want.
kind of like bullet points of current events.
Yeah, and then how do the players interact with it? But I thought it would be a lot easier to start with an island, because an entire huge game world that can get out of hand really quickly. So by having us go to an island first, I figured, okay, I can handle a couple different groups on an island, and we didn't even run into everybody. There's more going on than what we even interacted with. But hey, motherfucker, he wants attention. So the island was kind of just to make it a little bit easier to improv within a little bit more constrained setting, and I didn't have quite as many factions to figure out as first. Because, of course, you were dealing with the Dark Elves that were there, or the Dock Ulfer. And there were some brief interactions with the Merfolk, who have, obviously, they have some sort of a trade going with the Dark Elves, and they also are a threat to the players. They seem to be slavers. They're capturing ships and selling slaves to the Dark Elves. There was the wizard on the island that was mentioned by the dwarf. There are the witches on the southwest side of the island, which Harold, the cannibal hermit, and Olaf, his ghost, now skull buddy, had mentioned previously. And other things that were going on that I had ideas for, but hadn't quite fleshed out yet. But there was no fucking story. The story is whatever you guys decide to do, or whatever you decide your PCs are going to do, and whatever the outcome is of that. And with the, very varied from 4 to 6 of us or so, all having input in this, it's going to end up being something far more interesting than anything that I could just sit down and come up with myself. I have really come to dislike the idea of modules as story, or having a campaign should be thought of as a world. An overarching, just the story that emerges from the PC's interaction with the world, rather than any kind of pre-planned thing. And I know this goes pretty much 180 degrees the other way from what a lot of people are doing now, but that's because they are wrong. They have not played this
You're
properly.
wrong.
They're just wrong. And I can say this, and I know a lot of people get upset. And every time Jeffro has an interview with somebody, they get all butthurt over him telling them that they're playing AD&D wrong.
Well,
but
I
will say, well, there's no wrong way to play it. But
well, you have to say this from a business standpoint. Okay. You can create a rule book and a Dungeon Master's Guide and some monster manuals. And from a business standpoint, you can't be static with that. So in order for TSR
Yes.
to actually be an entity continuing on into the future and being profitable and actually providing a living for the authors and artists, you have to come up with product. So I
Well,
understand
there's
the
a way to
nature.
do that though.
Well, I understand the nature behind the product of modules, because that was also a
Well,
the convention modules launched that when they started doing those.
if you're going to do a one shot, and a convention is basically a one shot, it needs to be more tightly constrained, and you can do that. With modules, though, you can design a module not as a story that the players are forced to go along with. Here's Act A, Act B, Act C, D, or whatever, and they go from here to here to here to here to here. Instead, they could do modules as this is a city that you can use in your campaign. These are the factions.
Well, they
These
do those.
are
They do
various
the,
subplots.
they do those too. Yeah, like
And
the city of
that-
Waterdeep and Raven. What was the other one? It was called the Living City of Raven. Hang on, I forget, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Baldur's Gate, I know in the Forbidden Realms, of course, they got Waterdeep, and then they've got
you got
Icewind
Candlekeep,
Dale,
Icewind Dale. You've got the Zentarum and all kinds of shit.
They could come up with a variety of things that would be, and again, I like the term module because it implies modular. It is something that anybody should be able to take and fit into their world. But the idea of modules should be something to augment or aid DMs in world building, or even as prompts for them to come up with their own things rather than predetermined stories. And being able to just literally just let the players do whatever. Obviously, there's rules of physics and magic. There has to be some rules or it's not a game. There's to be like some constraints to what the PCs are able to do. But outside of those constraints, like, you can't just jump 30 feet in the air. Your PC doesn't have the ability to do that. And no, you can't cast this spell. You already expended your spell. Yeah, other than stuff like that, which is necessary for it to be a game, resource management. If you don't have constraints, then there's other challenges. Other than that, I would rather just let the players do whatever, and and as a DM too, I think maybe the reason some people want to stick with these stories, one, some people will do this because they can't just run a game off the cuff. I mean, I don't think it would be great, but I think if you guys said, hey, let's just play right now, I could probably just improvise and make everything up down to the monster stats, and we could just run.
Oh, that's the beauty. That's the beauty of
fun.
the rules. Like, absolutely. I essentially do that with my own AD&D games.
Not everybody can do that though, but I think there's other DMs who are kind of frustrated novelists or playwrights, and they think they've got this awesome story, and I think that's great that people have these stories that they come up with, but D&D is not maybe the place to do that. They should be writing short stories, writing novels. Maybe they can use some of their characters as NPCs, but they shouldn't be trying to force a plot or force a story on the players. Now, they could say, okay, this is the situation. Let's say they have this big thing that they decided is happening in the world, and let the players decide, do we want to even get involved with that or not? And if you have this great big idea and you've spent a lot of time on it, you think, oh, well, this is going to be so much fun. And then the players don't want to have anything to do with it. They don't take your hooks. They want to go do something else. Well, it's not your game. It's everybody's game. The players have to have fun too. And you can just take that and use it for something else. And this is also a reason that I don't do a ton of planning. I do outlining, but if I have an idea that I really like, I might just develop it because I enjoy developing these ideas. And if it doesn't end up coming up in the game, I want to start doing some short stories. I can always pull these and do something later. But in a nutshell, I had so much fun in the Trollopolis campaign And just, I would love to, I know that the one-to-one time does not work with doing the live stream format with the scheduling and everybody. But the idea, just having, let the players do, or let the PCs do whatever they want and react to it, I think just makes for a lot better game if the DM is capable of doing that. You don't want to have somebody who just can't improvise and they just sit there, well, I didn't prepare for this. I don't know what's going to happen next. Give me a couple minutes. No, just fucking random table. You don't know what the fuck happens.
Yeah, the only issue I run into at my own table with that is I have to keep a pad and paper handy because making up names and scenarios and shit on the fly, I have to. So I remember them for next game. I got to write that shit down.
So a couple things. I've got notepads that I usually keep neirby while we're doing this.
Yep.
What I don't have that I should be getting is that's handy, but my desk is a fucking mess. 3x5 cards for things too, so I can have little things. But I also
get the 4x6 ones, the larger ones.
I'll do that because I should have cards for my NPCs instead of having to flip through or scroll through. But Google Docs, I'm using Google Docs for a lot of the planning, and I can have an index along the side, so I can just go to that, and then some notes on things, so I can just jump back to what the hell happened 3 episodes ago that I need to know for this time. There's still a bunch of unresolved stuff. Maybe we'll run into that back in the island. But anyways, it's the mythology thing, though, is just I find the whole Norse mythology fascinating. Have read the Poetic Edda, read the Havamal, read a bunch of different people's interpretations and translations.
Well, you included Aaron Clarion, which is kind of funny. Clarion of Clan Airy. That was fantastic.
I rolled a leprechaun on the random table, and I thought, what the fuck am I going to do with this? It's not awesome. A monster. What is a fucking leprechaun going to do? Is he going to show
totally
up?
Fucking Aaron Clary.
And are you the fuckers that stole my Lucky Charms or whatever?
Why do they always laugh when I say that?
I figured, okay, we got a leprechaun. What can I do with this? And I needed a name off the top of my head. I figured, okay, I'm just gonna run with that. So that was fun. And of course, the undead stuff.
Oh yeah, the owlbears.
Couple reasons that I like throwing in the undead. One, it gives the cleric and the paladin more usefulness. It's things that they can specifically. It gives people an opportunity. You look at the party makeup and you say, okay, what can everybody do, and how can I throw things at them that will let different players have opportunities to use their talents and shine. And the undead gives all sorts of opportunities for that, and just kind of, I don't want to give anything away, but it kind of fits with some other things that are going on with these dark elves. And then coming up with the weird monsters is fun. Some of the stuff is straight out of the Monster Manual or the Monster Manual 2. Some of the stuff, some things you haven't even run into yet, but some of the stuff that you did run into, like the corpse golem spider thing.
Oh yeah.
I don't even know what the hell to call it. I just wrote down corpse golem spider was something that kind of came to mind from a bunch of different things. A little bit of The Thing, of course. The idea is the whole body horror thing and having it absorb.
And Stranger Things too.
And I hadn't thought of it, but yeah, I guess it kind of didn't they do something like that?
Third, yeah, in Stranger Things at the end of the third one.
With the guy that was at the pool that was going to fuck all the pool moms.
Oh, what's his face? Yeah, he's like Lord S.
Billy.
Yeah, Billy. He was helping recruit all the bodies and people.
This might sound terrible, but I could kind of relate to Billy in that.
Nothing wrong with that. He was surrounded by a lard ass.
Yeah, that was. Anyways,
moms.
Thinking of what is it? Wendy's? Was it Wendy's? Mike's mom? Who is that? I can't remember the blonde mom. I think it was Mike's mom. It wasn't. I know
you're talking about, but I don't remember which kid it was.
It was the blonde mom. It was not. I can't. It wasn't Winona Ryder.
Stacy's mom.
Yeah, anyways, getting distracted by that.
She's got it going on.
But anyways,
that's funny, Mike. Your mom loves me too.
But I can't wait for the next one. It's going to be fun getting into. We're going over to Jorvik.
Well, exactly, because we're back on mainland, as it were. I think next Wednesday we'll have your campaign going.
That'll work.
I need a level for that dwarf.
I think we're all leveling up at this point with all the experience we've got. I mean, it's.
I heard the fighters were 7?
I think so. I'd have to check. Probably close to it, if not.
So the thief would be either 8 or 9 then, right? Because experience is a little higher for the thief. They're in that area.
We'll just have to look at what everybody's average experience point is and go with that. Because I don't want to say, this is the leveling in the first edition was different.
Well, if she prefers a feminine men, Mike should be incestually involved with you. Ulfer is 7th.
So whatever the average XP of the party currently, just go with that for whatever.
Oh, I picked up a new.
Nice.
Original, yeah. I've got the second variant cover. This is the original cover.
I think the one that I've got has an original cover, but it is really, really.
This is Grat. Yeah, Ulfer is. I have to get the staff of power recharged. It has like 2 charges left.
Well, now that we can't start without everybody saying that we're back in town. We are back in town, traveling to Jorvik to recharge the staff. We would have to find monsters. Yeah, we would have to find a wizard or some place that is high enough level that he can do that. I need to check and see what's necessary. See what's
up there. And Blake, I don't do eBay for the most part. It's a pain in the ass. I have a used bookstore that I'm friends with the owners, and they have a small D&D section, Warhammer 2 paints and whatnot. But the owner's son, Brandon, he looks out for D&D stuff for me. I give him a list, and then he holds on to it for me. And I'm usually there once every week or so. So I'm replenishing my D&D original AD&D stuff. I have two large containers full of original stuff that I either had as Christmas gifts or purchased myself back in the 80s and 90s, or the stuff that I had sold I'm trying to replenish back. So
used to have a ton of 2nd edition stuff, but now my brother and one of our friends has all of it. But we're not running 2nd edition, so I just get reprints of all that. So
yeah, that was my haul from this weekend. I got a Wizards the Wizards what's the Wizards Handbook? Magic User Wizards Handbook from 2nd edition.
Is it one of those little dark blue books?
No, they're brown. They're like fake leather looking.
I might be thinking of something else.
And then I have that's my original Encyclopedia Magicas. All 4 volumes of those they're fun to look through. When they first came out, I picked up those. They're good to have. They're a good reference. It's basically every magic item up to the time of printing from the 1st edition, 2nd edition, and Dungeon and Dragon errata.
I've got a PDF of it somewhere, but I would like to have original editions of all these. It'd be nice to build up the library.
Oh yeah. It's called the complete Complete Wizard's Handbook, and they have like the Complete Psionics, Clerics, Fighter's Handbook, Bards, Thieves, and that. So they're cool.
We need I don't know if I got to make sure that Franklin is clear too on everything going forward with his cleric, because I don't know if he caught the whole discussion with Robert before regarding the problem with having or his paladin. Sorry, you can't really have a paladin of Loki. It doesn't work. I wasn't thinking about it at the time when he brought that up. I said, okay, well, it's whatever. We'll go with it for now. But yeah, otherwise he and Robert's cleric are going to end up killing each other. One of them is going to kill the other.
That would be interesting to see, actually, because I'd be siding with Robert, of course. He's
that's the thing,
buddy,
because Franklin's paladin is a new addition to the group, whereas everybody else knew each other coming in. So, I'm not saying Franklin, but his PC specifically. So he's probably going to get killed pretty quickly. So we're going to have to
that dumb son of a bitch. That happens. Just keep rolling up fucking characters, which you can do in a matter of 15 minutes if you have enough dice and you know what you're doing.
Yeah, I'll send something in the chat or the email and just say, hey, we got to do this week. Otherwise, the alternative is that they do fight it out when they get back into, or maybe on the boat on the way over. I don't know. I'd like to pick up, and I figure it seemed like everybody just wanted to pick up in Jorvik after traveling there. Probably a little bit more interesting to do that. Skip ahead.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Have you guys ever played any of the computer games, like old school computer games?
Oh yeah,
I haven't.
Yeah, I've got
some friends who have, but
I've got Atari's. What the hell is it? No,
during Rolo stream, I was listening to some of the music and I heard some of it, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
That was Ice. The one
Windale,
I heard was Icewind Dale, yeah, by Jeremy Sewell. I love Icewind Dale 2, and then Heart of Winter. I have. I love playing that on Steam. I have the discs, and then I play Neverwinter Nights.
Yeah, I've actually got I was doing Icewind Dale, but I'm actually doing that Baldur's Gate right now, doing a little campaign on the side, just because they're coming out with the third game soon. Like the full release. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, so I was like, okay, I'll have a little nostalgia trick and play a little bit. The options in the game or the infighting, right, as you guys were like talking about here, is one of the things that really makes things interesting sometimes when you have these good aligned characters and evil aligned characters in the same party, and seeing how you can make them work together, right? So when you're talking about this paladin of Loki,
yeah, right. It's what it was called, the anti-paladin, in one of the Dragon magazines when that came out.
Yeah.
Yep. Evil paladin.
I was thinking about it because we were talking about DMing, because I do my own thing, DMing a 5e campaign, right? If you're going to be a DM, you really have to be so into it that you love just studying D&D. You love researching it. You love, just opening the book or going on a YouTube video, learning more about it, because that's what I got to do when I do my campaigns. So it's like, okay, I've got my plot here, and I ran into a scenario because I was, I'm a new DM. Ran into a scenario where the guys were in a dungeon, and the way that I planned was they're going to go ahead and finish the dungeon. So they just, they beat the roper that's down there, and they're like, you know what? I don't want to go through the dungeon anymore. And so they just were like, we're going to go outside. And guess what? Me? It's like, well, I didn't plan for that, So I had to whip it up on the fly, which was actually very challenging because I usually plan. So that's when I started getting into the concept of I need to have the plot that's going on with these characters, what they want to do. And then if they decide to, on the fly, say, nope, I'm not doing this anymore, I have an alternative to that. So like one or two other alternatives, like back and behind that with what they want to do to kind of draw out the time before I can plan for a next session. So when I was referring to the game, so when it comes to the games, right, they give you options, A, B, C, D kind of thing. It's kind of like that a little bit. Now, when I start planning a lot of these D&D sessions, that way it runs a little bit smoother with everything. So, so whatever the scenario I'm in, like let's say we're in the jungle, like I'm doing Tomb of Annihilation right now.
Okay, how are you enjoying
Tomb of
that?
Horrors, basically.
You
Yeah,
liking
it's
it?
really good. Yeah.
Okay.
So understanding what's around you on the map, from where your party is how I would interact and try to dry out the time depending on where they want to go. So
Well, if they're in the dungeon and they just decide that they no longer want to be in the dungeon, depending on how far into the dungeon they are, who knows what they're going to run into on the way out, or if they're going to be able to even get out the way that they came in. You wouldn't want to say, nope, you're stuck, you can't go anywhere, but at least, you know, give them enough of a challenge to overcome to get out that it buys you a little extra time to improvise whatever happens next.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Tomb of Horrors, once you're in, you're not getting out until you're done.
No, you have to. You're committed at that point. Yeah.
Yeah.
And almost almost every trap is deadly, or it's just designed to fuck you up.
I was very surprised when
I think that was
actually survived it.
Did someone survive? One character?
We had two characters die.
Okay.
We actually got pretty lucky during the end there, and we had a very large party, which is also what it was. So having like 10 people fight, you know, a Serac, it was pretty good, I would say.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of the skills and abilities that they had, kind of like counter magic, that kind of thing. Also, 5e is a lot easier. I think if we were playing like 2e or 1e, it would be extremely difficult, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
the original is
little deadlier. You don't get any death saving throws.
No, that would be cool to run as a one-off with Jeffro. Have him run the.
Shit, I think we need a day for that, or maybe a half an hour, depending on how quickly.
Well, we would definitely need to have hirelings that we use as red shirts. That would have to happen. So.
Yeah.
Or slaves. We could be
slaves.
We could have a party of evil characters.
We could be the slavers
and go in with
Rollo's game.
Slaves instead.
Yeah, the opposite. Blake asks, what game system would you guys recommend for someone that doesn't do online play and wants to play Elder Scrolls or something similar? Well, AD&D.
Well, do you mean an offline video game, or do you mean tabletop, sitting around the table with your friends?
If you're talking about an offline game, I would say, play the CD get some CDs of Icewind Dale or Neverwinter Nights.
Christ, spare me the fucking alt med pseudoscience bullshit about LED lights. I'm not interested.
What?
Somebody in the comments.
What are you talking about? Oh, homeschool? LED lights are toxic to human eyes. What? The fuck you? What are you talking about?
Pseudoscientific. You don't want to have a lot of bright light later on at night. It can affect your ability to get to sleep and stuff, but it's not toxic. There's all these fucking alt med pseudoscience fucking weirdos pushing all sorts of artificial sweeteners will kill you. And
Don't be an alt science weirdo, homeschool. Jesus
fucking,
Christ.
you got there's a lot of fucking silly bullshit out there. It's not gonna, LED lights are gonna fucking kill you.
Homeschool will stop in just to bust our balls. He's cool. Yeah, right now I'm playing. What is it? Temple of Tempest in Icewind Dale. It's called Temple of Tempest.
I actually didn't play it all the way through yet. I should. I keep going back to Baldur's Gate for some reason.
Baldur's Gate's good too. Yeah, I enjoyed that. That was fun.
Some of the new content they added was pretty good too. I'm not sure if you did like the enhanced edition Black Pits. I did not like the additional characters and whatnot, but Black Pits was pretty fun. Just whipping up 6 characters and seeing if you get through a bunch of battles, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like Icewind Dale, you have a character, a party.
Yeah,
of 6,
exactly. Exactly.
That actually takes some time too to roll up your character, as it were, and outfit them correctly in the town with the little bit of gold that you have.
Yeah,
because that when you're leaving, the fucking name of the town, the first town. Anyway, when you're leaving the first town,
range at level 1.
Oh yeah, you're level 1, and then you have to be careful. Yeah, because you start going south, and you're going through this one section, and all these little goblins start shooting arrows at you.
Yeah, and everybody just starts dying.
And your cleric and your fucking magic user and thief just are dead within 4 or 5 seconds. You gotta go back. You gotta go back and plan, or go through one of the walkthroughs. Those were big in the 90s and the early aughts. The walkthroughs, they tell you what happens in each scene.
That's the feeling I ended up getting when my character in Robo's campaign just got shot with all those arrows. That's just like, oh my god,
right?
Icewind Dale vibes, and right in the first battle.
Absolutely.
You're dead.
Yep, you're like a fucking pincushion. What? Grat got hit with. I think I have 3 arrows in me now.
So, but Gray's not dead yet.
Gray is not dead. No. TJ died.
He saved a lot of people. By the way.
TJ died. And Amos died.
That's what he's there for, healing.
Yep. And then and also Lupo died as well. That was actually sad.
That was a pretty epic fight, though.
That was that was just nonstop action the entire time.
I need to watch it before.
Go back and watch the last Raw. Yeah, it was from the beginning to end. It was just one big fucking fight. Was it you? Yeah, you had the fire wand and you caught the scaffolding on fire. Which helped.
No, I saw Marquesa and I'm just like,
you're like, fuck that bitch.
That's right. Fire's a fireball.
That was the best thing you could have done. Actually, that was a good maneuver. When in doubt, fireball or lightning.
There you go.
Yep.
Lightning bounces around, right?
It can. Yes.
If it hits a wall, there's a certain length that it can go, and if it reaches a wall or hard surface before it has traveled its full length,
1d6 or something.
I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look, but I know that it will reflect back. So, fireball for area of effect, and lightning bolt if you want to clear a line.
Yep, I'm always casting fireball and lightning in Drew's game. That's how I friendly fired Bint. Twice. I actually killed him twice.
And that's how TJ suicided his last character. You yelled fuego. Or Ulfar yelled fuego.
Ulfar yelled fuego. That's. I even preface it by saying, get out of the way.
As he seemed a little frustrated when Halfdan died, but then when Halfdan's half brother was in mortal danger,
that lineage is dead.
Yep.
That whole family's gone.
So that bloodline has ended.
And TJ's not allowed to. I think he's doing the paladin for next time.
So we got TJ as a
I think he actually rolled. Didn't he roll up a character like that?
Yeah, I thought he was going to be a barbarian
or a barbarian. Yeah, he rolled up a barbarian,
which should be interesting.
That's right.
And if Rollo is not going to be able to play on a consistent basis, I don't know if he is or isn't. But it would be helpful to have. Well, we've got a cleric, so we got a healer, but we're going to have a thief. We're going to have a barbarian.
We've got
Jesse.
Jesse, isn't your friend wanting to play Drew's game?
My friend?
Is it yours or was it yours, Drew? Somebody recommended somebody.
Might have been somebody else.
Oh wait, it was Noble.
Franklin.
It was Noble's. Yeah, it was Noble's friend. He wanted to join your game, Drew, and we wanted to wait until you played. So I have to add him. Well, I can't actually.
We need to coordinate.
We'll have to get his name again, and then because you created the MGD&D group in the Twitter, only you can add people. I think.
Oh, I thought you created it.
I created.
Let me know. I'll try. I had no idea.
Well, I did for the Masculine Geek Twitter account. That got nuked when I said trans equals mental illness. They just got rid of me. No appeals, nothing. Just you're done, gone. So you created in my new account and added me to the MGD. That's actually, you're the admin for that. So you're going to have to, I'll give you his name and you can add him, and then we'll bring him in and get him going for next game.
Right. Yeah, just let me know.
Let me go. I got to go to my messages. Shit. What the fuck is this? Fuck that guy. All right. Where the fuck? Oh, here we go. His name is Jared. And let's see.
Won't hold that against him.
I know, right? Let me follow him. Let me add you to this original. There we go. I just added you to this group. Should be popping up.
And now that we are back in crap, it wasn't even England. Was it Albion? What the fuck was it called before that? Jorvik is where we're going.
Yeah, I just added you. I just sent go check your Twitter shit.
Okay, because that'll actually make it easy to work people in to. Oh, and is that you that sent the just now? Okay, I see it.
Yep.
It makes it easier to make sense that new people are just joining in if we are in this town that's kind of a hub
that's what I thought
of activity, as opposed to they just happened to show up on the island. Although that did work. But I have been brainstorming, and I have a couple ideas of how things might go in the town. I don't want to have you guys show up and then immediately throw something at you and say, this is the thing you're dealing with, but rather have you hear about this and hear about that and see what your PCs want to do while they're there, and then just run with whatever they decide. But there will be some things in town for people to do. I think I don't want to give any spoilers, but I think we talked about setting something up for TJ's Barbarian.
Street fight with the crowds.
Maybe.
Kind of a Conan the Barbarian kind of
kind
shit.
of a
Call the Conqueror.
Well, I don't know. He's probably not going to watch it, or maybe he is. I don't know.
Worry,
what is he doing?
I'll
He's got people installing windows or something at his house, or fixing his windows.
He's renovating his basement.
So he's got a barbarian. So I figure what would be interesting is to have. And I've got a couple ideas how this could play out, but I was thinking either when everybody arrives, and I don't want to spoil too much, this is just kind of real loose outline. There's, depending on where you go, and this is something that could happen in a variety of places, there may be people betting on fighters, and maybe somebody points out TJ's barbarian and taunts him or challenges him, or maybe the guy that's going around taking the money says, "How about you?
How about you, son of a
Are you
bitch?
feeling lucky,
Punk." The
See
medieval
if
version
he
of punk.
decides to go with that."
You've got a bunch of muscles and a big weapon. Come over here.
That's right.
Although, should
Worthless
we
bastard.
have it with the weapon or just with the fists? Maybe to the death, maybe or first blood. I don't know.
Fists,
I'll have to think about that.
In old school edition, fists, you can't kill anybody, can you? You just knock them out.
No, you can definitely pummel
can
someone
kill
to
'em.
death. Yeah, there's if you it's in the experts rules. I think it's
You can't incapacitate them, but not.
well, you can do non-lethal damage.
You can choose
Yeah,
if you're using a blunt weapon. What's going on with my camera here? If you're
it's
using
in and out of focus.
sometimes if I move too
Stop
quickly,
that.
we'll do that.
John,
There we go. I think you can choose if you can't stab somebody and then start twisting the knife around in their guts and say, "I'm just trying to knock them out." It's not going to work. But if you hit them with a blunt weapon, you can say, "I'm not trying to do lethal damage. I just want to
Yeah,
incapacitate."
you what you start doing is you hit with the flat of the blade. It's called non-lethal damage. So what happens is you still roll damage, and the hit point, the damage points are added up and taken away from your let's do like ghost hit points. So when you reach 0, you're not dead, you're just unconscious. And then in the expert rules of D&D, there's a module called Castle Amber, and one of the scenarios in the encounters there's you don't have to, but you can. You're betting between the nobleman and his champion, and whoever your character group decides to say, "Hey, you're gonna be the challenger." So you basically bare knuckle fighting a flesh golem. So that's kind of cool in a duel-like fashion. Like, or you can't get knocked out of the ring, whatever, get pummeled unconscious, or you lose the bet and you lose money. So that's kind of cool.
I just fuck. I don't. This gives me other ideas.
Old school pugilists.
I guess it depends on who you're fighting, right? If they're
Well, there's
evil,
that
they might
too.
just kill you. If they're good, they might.
Well, the flesh golem is just gonna fucking kill you. Especially if
This is not
directed at by
going
the-
to
by the,
kill anybody. This is just kind of to get him a little bit more engaged, and to kind of get him into give him a chance to kind of play out his new character. Because I know that the barbarians have some abilities, and I need to go through the Unearthed Arcana again. I read the barbarian and I read the acrobat stuff, which I'm trying to think that in a city environment or on a ship with all the rigging could actually really be interesting. And I'm just going to throw this out there for you guys, but a heist or something of that nature, heist or rescue, might be fun, because that would give the acrobat a chance to actually use some of those abilities to solve to overcome some obstacles. Although with Ulfr being able to fly, that the flying spell really
it helps.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that I try to make use of all the spells as strategically as possible. Yeah,
makes it interesting. I need to come up with some more interesting challenges that allow you to take advantage of that as well.
Oh yeah, like I have let's see what I got in my I have a good amount in my spell book, but for my level I can have 4 first, 3 second, 2 third, and 1 fourth in addition to the
Don't you have a ring of spell storing?
The ring of spell storing does some extra for first and second level spells. However, I have got a bunch of rings. I have
you can only have 2 at a time.
I can only have 2. So I have Ring of Wizardry, Ring of Regeneration, and Ring of Protection +3. So right now I have on the Ring of Regeneration and the Ring of Protection +3. I'll probably swap it out. I'll probably swap it out at some point, the Ring of Regeneration with the Ring of Wizardry to boost spells when we get into something that's more intense where I need more spells. But I have I do have Find Familiar, Drew, and I think next. Yes, think of something good because next game obviously before the game we play, I want to cast the Find Familiar spell / ritual, and I want to get a familiar.
With the familiar, is that something that you choose, or is that something that we roll on a table?
You can roll on a table, or you can assign it. That would be up to you. I don't mind. It'd be kind of cool to roll on the table. I get like a frog or a salamander or some dumb shit, but I would make the best.
I'll roll it on the table, but also
fly.
If it doesn't make sense for the environment and the theme,
you can make up your own. You can make your own table, like based on the content or the context of your environment. Exactly. You can make like maybe I would say 12. A cat, dog, badger, raccoon,
and with Find Familiar,
lizard, pseudo dragon.
Okay, yeah, because there's a bunch of stuff that we could do.
I pretty much get I get the ability. I get some abilities that the familiar have. Like if they have like for a bat, or not a bat, like a something that has infravision, I would get that infravision if I wanted to see through their eyes. If I'm not mistaken, unless that's different editions. However,
lots of stuff we could do with this.
Let me take a look at hang on. Let's research this shit now. Fuck it. We're doing it live.
All right. So for those of you who do not know what a familiar is, it's a
pet. It's like a pet that like helps out the magic user.
It's I was going to say sort of a pet / servant, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a companion that is often an animal, but it can be a fictional animal.
All right, I'll read it's on page 66 of the Player's Handbook. So the levels first, the range is 1 mile per level. So in my case, it would be either 7 or 8, depending upon when you allow me to level up. The area of effect is spell range. Components are verbal, somatic, and material. The casting time is 1 to 24 hours, and there's no saving throw, obviously, because I'm not being attacked. Or not. So, explanation description. A familiar is of certain benefit to a magic user, as the creature adds to the spellcaster's hit points. It conveys its sensory powers to its master, and it can converse and will serve as a guard, scout, spy as well. However, the magic user has no control over what sort of creature will answer the summoning, or if any at all will come, and the power of the conjuration is such that it can be attempted but once per year. At such time as a magic user determines to find a familiar, he or she must stoke up a brass brazier with charcoal, and when this is burning well, add 100 gold pieces worth of incense, herbs, basil, savory, and catnip for sure. Fucking catnip, and fat. When these items are burning, the spellcaster begins his or her incantation, and it must be continued until the familiar comes or the casting time is finished. Your referee will secretly determine all results. The magic user has absolutely no control over what sort of a creature appears to become his or her familiar. This will be determined on the table below. Now it's a die roll, a d20. A 1 to 4 would be a black cat. This is default basic shit. You can obviously change it to see fit. 1 to 4 is a cat, black. Excellent night vision, superior hearing. 5 to 6, a crow. That would be kind of cool in your game. Excellent vision. 7 to 8, hawk. Very superior distance vision. 9 to 10, a screech owl. Night vision equals human daylight visual ability, superior hearing. 11 to 12, toad. Wide angle vision. That'd be weird. 13 to 14, weasel. Superior hearing and very superior olfactory power. 15, special. See subtable below for details. And 16 to 20, no familiar available within spell range.
If you do this in a urban area, there are definitely going to be rats and pigeons.
66. Remember that. Rats and pigeons?
Yes.
I wouldn't mind a rat or a pigeon. That'd be kind of cool.
Although where there are rats, there are going to be cats.
Well, I would say definitely put rats, cats, and pigeons on your list.
Not sure if they would have had pigeons there, but I will look at that. I've got I'll roll. I'm not sure a toad would make a whole lot of sense, but oh boy, I'll think about this. 'Cause that'll be fun.
It'll be fun to
Add a
come
little
up
bit.
with what your own list. Yeah, I would do the D20 roll as well, but make your own ranges and make your own.
Did you guys bring Bent's corpse back or the pieces of it?
I don't recall. I don't think so.
I don't know if Robert was going to
Does
have his
anyone
cleric
in the chat
burn all
remember
of
that?
I'll have to check, because if you have well, shit, I don't think Robert would do it. I was gonna say, if he has animate dead, he could animate the corpse of Bent. You guys could just stitch them back together, and Bent could be your familiar.
Yeah, I'm not of the necromancer bent. Undead are okay, but you know,
little undead Bent.
Undead are better under my fireball, as victims of my fireball or a lightning bolt. So
you role play that familiar.
Bent
oh, yeah, if the character Ulfr was more of that inclined, he would totally roleplay that shit. Oh, Amos has been summoned.
I think Bent has more than earned his place in Valhalla, and
absolutely.
Although it's not really rest, you just got to go and fight until you get killed every day, and then you get resurrected and you go and drink and feast. So, but yeah, I think he's earned his rest or place in Valhalla, which sounds more like constant partying and fighting.
Nothing wrong with that.
What was Amos' character in Rolo's campaign again? I forgot.
That was Rothos. He was the half-elven magic user.
Yeah, we found him in a pit trap.
We did.
At first, I thought we were going to end up having to fight him.
That's where I got the bear.
I wasn't sure what was going on.
The stuffed bear. I got you weren't there for that, but there was a stuffed bear that was part of the trap where it kind of rolled down like it was a real bear attacking us, but it wasn't. It was like, ugh. And I put a rope on it, and Grat was dragging the bear around the dungeon for a while. So that was fun. I think we used it.
Against orcs, didn't it like get set on fire at one point?
It got burned or some shit. I mean, Grat was very sad. Yeah, it was heart-rending.
But now he's got a badger.
Grat likes. Man, I'm learning new stuff from what you guys were doing earlier.
Grat likes his pet. It's like a Linus blanket for Grat.
He's a simple guy. You know,
he is. He doesn't care too much for money. He just wants to kill shit and eat cheese and drink ale. I mean, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
And carry a bear.
Carry a bear and a badger named Benjamin and kill people. It's really a very, very. It's not a quiet life, but it certainly is a simple life, as you pointed out. Yes.
We'll have to have. Oh, geez, no. I think the leprechaun is definitely dead, but maybe we could bring Sled back. Aaron, drop in for a second.
Well, I do want to do a. I know I called it a celebrity game, but I want to bring a bunch of people that don't normally play D&D and then play D&D either with you DMing or Raul DMing, and then have like a one-off like we did with Jeffro. So. Because I know Ryan Stone had expressed an interest in playing, so get him in there too for a.
If Jeffro would do it, might be fun to have us, Rollo, Ryan, Aaron, and a bunch just all play and have Jeffro run it. But I'll run it if Rollo doesn't want to run it. But it would be cool
I'll get an email thread going and a Twitter thread if I don't have the email, and kind of coordinate
If,
that and get
if
that.
nothing else, I can put together one shots. Every year, and sometimes twice a year, I get together with my brother. Will come down here with his kids, and we'll have a family game where I run it, and it's my brother, my son, and his two sons, and sometimes his daughter playing. And it's always a self-contained 2 to 3 hour sort of one shot, because it's once or twice a year. So we can't really have, okay, well, we'll pick up this 6 months from now, because we like to do it around the table. So I've got a bunch of things that I've already put together that I could adapt for a larger number of people. Uh-oh. Did I freeze or did everybody else freeze?
Oh, I think it's
Guys,
just Vince.
Okay, guys in the comments, is Vince freezing for everybody or just me? Oh shit.
Oh, it must have just been time. It was 10 p.m. So
it is 10 p.m., but
usually it'd say something.
Something must have happened. He must have got disconnected. We shouldn't even still be running here. He's using StreamYard for this, which is, if you guys are interested in doing any kind of streaming, I've been using them for a while. Really happy with them. Great streaming service. But the way that I understood it, if a host drops out, a lot of times the whole thing just ends. So unless I'm set up to be able to also, I don't know.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, you're right.
I'm not set up as an admin, so it says I'm in the show, but I have no control over anything else going on here. Wait a second. Present video file. So I'm set up to be able to do some things, but not others. Okay, I'm just set up to be able to share stuff in case, like if we're running a D&D game. There he is.
Welcome back.
Piece of shit. Yeah, that was my Irish goodbye to you fuckers. No, for whatever reason, my internet took a shit, so now I'm on my hotspot on my phone. Oh, there we go. I was mentioning something about the D&D game and getting it with one-off. Yeah, so one-off game. And yeah, Aaron will play for
that would be fun.
A one-off game for sure.
So what's going on with TJ's character and the Ring of Souls that had what is it? Saro in it. Saro is now trying to take over. Is it oh crap, what was the name? That's
pretty interesting. I don't know if I want spoilers though.
Aldemar?
Yeah, is he trying to take over his body or something?
Saro is Rob Says character when he was playing before, and then he stopped playing, and then Saro sort of went into limbo, and I think Raul decided to have him be on the bit of the evil side. So for whatever reason, I think Aldemar's spirit and Saro's spirit are vying for control over Aldemar's body. I think that's what's happening here. Even though I think TJ's character, I thought he may have survived. I'm not sure. I don't think so.
Shit.
He may be down to like one hit point.
I know that ring is keeping him alive right now.
Yeah.
But if I recall, the ring had a bunch of souls trapped in it from probably previous owners.
Correct.
So have you guys played Cyberpunk 2077?
No.
Okay, I don't want to say I won't spoil anything just in case you do later on. Fun game, really interesting story, but this sort of reminded me of one of the things that can happen in that. Uh-oh.
How was that game, by the way?
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I thought we lost you again.
No, I'm here.
But that would actually
good.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, a while ago when it first came out, people were telling me it's probably going to be something that's good. But I remember it wasn't like fully released and it had a bunch of bugs or something.
There were bugs initially. And when it came out, I think I played it on the Xbox when it came out. Recently, got it. It's been a long time. I got it again for the PS5. I want to play through it again. So I don't want to try and do this without any spoilers. It is really well done in terms of the atmosphere and in terms of the variety of gameplay. If you've watched Blade Runner, if you've seen,
The old
I was,
one.
Johnny
touching my, I was
Mnemonic,
touching my swimsuit area, Blake. Shut up, you fucker.
and all this stuff,
Look at my nose.
there are areas that you're walking through, and it is like you're going through places in
God
these
damn it.
movies. Or if you've read any of the literature that the whole cyberpunk thing is based on, they really do a great job with the
My internet is
atmosphere
wonky.
and just the whole feel of it. But it's a really interesting story. There is a ton of stuff to do, and the way that the character development goes, you can actually, well, you've got different areas. It's RPG. It's like with fantasy RPG, you can do this class or that class, and there are different abilities or skills that you can focus on more than others to determine how you want to play the game. So if you just want to go through and just shoot everything, you can focus on body modifications, cyberware, and physical enhancements and skills that are just all about shooting. Or you can focus on hacking or stealth or just making yourself an indestructible brawler, or you can go the cyber samurai ninja route where you're doing katanas and throwing knives, and there's a modification, body modification, so cyber where you can have blades that come out of your arms. Have you ever seen Mnemonic? There's a villain that has this wire that's almost, imagine if a lightsaber was a garrote or like a wire, and he had this thumb that was robotic, and he could remove his thumb, and as he pulled the thumb out, there was this wire that was like a laser,
like a vibroblade.
Yes, but it was the wire from the thumb, so you could use this as a whip and slice things with it, or garrote people with it and whatnot. There is a device in the game that is based on that. It's a modification. So depending on how you want to play the game, there are a bunch of different approaches. So you could play this game. There's like 6 main things that you could focus on: body, reflexes, tech stuff, cool, so sort of your stealth thing, mind, which is more of your what's the hacking and all that. I can't remember what the other one is. And you can combine all of these to come up with a bunch of different character builds that all play very differently. I've done like 3 complete playthroughs on this game so far, and I have 2 others going right now. I don't have a lot of time to be able to do it, but when I have an hour or 2, I can sit down and I don't have anything else. Just want to have some mindless fun. That's what I've been doing recently, and it's just there's a ton of variety of things to do in the game, and there's a huge variety in how you can approach how you do it. So it's got a lot. It's a fun game. It's an interesting story, and there is a ton of replay value. Even if you only played through one time, you get way more than your money's worth in terms of the entertainment. But my recommendation to anybody who picks up the game and is going to play it is not to fast travel, because there is so much detail. There are so many things all over the environment that you really miss a lot of the feel and you miss a lot of little things, dialogue and things that happen that if you don't take your time kind of going through the environments, you're really not getting the full experience of the game. They really put a ton. I mean, it's like being dropped into the middle of the set of Blade Runner. I mean, it's just they did an amazing job. It's just a lot of fun. I can't recommend it enough. And again, I don't know if you played Witcher 3, same people that made that game. So they did an excellent job.
Actually, my sister has. She said it was really good.
I'm really enjoying it. Again, I think, yeah. So right now, got two different. I mostly did. Well, I don't want to bore you. The first few playthroughs was mostly hacking and stealth and shooting stuff. So now I've got one character that's more of a brawler and another that's very stealth and ninja, which has been just fun. I'm not shooting anything. If there's security cameras. There's a lot of stealth element to it. There's a skill you can get where you can throw knives accurately. So if there's a security camera, if I can't reach it, I'm taking security cameras out with knives. I'm killing people with knives, just throwing them in their heads, which has been just a hell of a lot of fun. And there's this device, this body modification that you can get that kind of slows, it doesn't slow time.
Yeah.
It speeds you up dramatically for a few seconds. But when you're playing the game, the effect is time seems to slow down. And it will, depending on the level of the device, because you can upgrade this over time, you can have time slowed down to where time is moving at 25% speed for like 16 seconds, I think is one of 12 seconds, 16 seconds, something like that. So you're moving 4 times as fast as everybody else. So you can throw a knife in somebody's face and then activate this, and everybody else is moving slow motion, and you just run up with your katana and just take this guy's head off, take the next guy's legs off behind him, and then hit him with the sword like 4 or 5 times before his body even hits the floor. And then the next guy, and then the next guy. And you're just slicing the shit out of
shit.
It's just Kill Bill meets, again, I keep saying Blade Runner, but kind of that kind of thing. It was just a hell of a lot of fun. This cyber ninja playthrough thing that I'm doing now with it.
It's like Amos had a question for you guys.
He did. He asked a question for Drew and Vince. Any thoughts on the homebrew D&D monster, the False Hydra? I have no experience with the False Hydra, so I can't tell you.
What is a False Hydra?
Stay away from it.
You know what a Tesla Hydra is?
I know what a Hydra is. I don't know what a False Hydra is.
Yeah, I know what a Hydra is, yeah.
The False Hydra, just a Hydra that the heads don't grow back double when you cut them off or something?
Elaborate, Amos. Don't just come in here with that question.
That's actually a good question, because it's a
false
Hydra, right? No heads come back.
There's no heads at all. Someone just calls it a Hydra.
Okay, so apparently False Hydra is, imagine, instead of, because most of when you think of a Hydra, you think of this dragon with long snake-like necks and heads, and if you cut one off, 2 grow back in its place. This thing looks like a corpse almost, and it's got this like sickly white skin, and the heads look like zombie heads on these long necks. And then it's got what looks like tentacles on the bottom. So
looks like something from the abyss.
Okay, here's the description. It's a terrifying monster. Well, fucking just don't tell us it's terrifying. Describe it. People don't know how to fucking write. So it's sickly white, pale skin, multiple heads on long necks. Instead of dragon heads like an original Hydra, it has human heads with blackened eyes and large white teeth. And what the fuck? It says as soon as it begins to sing some blind song, it says, and you forget that it was there. That's weird. So do you remember there are these creatures in Doctor Who that you don't remember them after you see them? So I guess that's kind of what it's supposed to do. Yeah, that thing.
This is a false Hydra. It's kind of cool. Be a neat monster to fight, that's for sure. I have no.
I got to put something. I don't know about using a false Hydra, but
Amos, you don't even play anymore. Stop giving the DM ideas, you fuck.
Put another corpse golem in that's sort of like that.
Oh, it's homebrew. That's why you guys didn't know.
Yeah, it's not something that's official.
Yeah.
That's different.
Speaking of the games, because you guys were talking about the games earlier, Baldur's Gate. Did you play Dragonspear? Vince?
No, I have not. No.
I was actually surprised. It came out like 5 years ago. It's actually an expansion to the original Baldur's Gate, like what happens in between 1 and 2. Oh. And they actually did a good job with it. And they had the original voice actors come in for like Minx and Diana Hare, Edwin.
Boo.
Yeah, Boo. Yeah, it was good.
Fucking hamster.
I would say. If you're looking for adventure on the side, then it might be
okay. So you can get that separately from. It's still using the same. What was it? The Infinity Engine or something?
God, I don't know. Let me see here. What kind of engine is it? Good question. I'll boot it up real quick.
So it's worth purchasing.
For me, it was, yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out. They probably have it on Steam.
And obviously, if there's weird there that you don't really like, just don't take those characters. That's what I did.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Well, thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, very good story. I liked it. It's kind of like throwing a ball almost, like up for the first game.
It's like Heart of Winter with Icewind Dale.
Yeah.
I like that in-between kind of story, between 1 and 2.
If you like demons and stuff, you're going to like it.
Yeah. All that stuff is good. I'll check it out. Thanks. There's if you like horror, there's one put out. I think that's by Atari. It's a Call of Cthulhu. It's called Dark Corners of the Earth. That one is actually legitimately frightening if you're in a dark room with just your PC, your laptop going, and you're playing it. it's pretty.
You know what?
No lights.
It's pretty nerve-wracking.
Usually play on the PS5, but that'd be worth it.
Get Dark Corners. Get Dark Corners of the Earth. Yeah.
Will it run on a desktop that is modern, like within the past, like months old?
Oh yeah. It's this is from like 2008 or 9, so it'll run anything new you might have.
My desktop is set up so that I can do like video editing and shit with Adobe Premiere and all that, but I didn't look specifically for a gaming thing. I just said I need something that I can do video.
Now, if you got a halfway decent graphics card, but definitely play it with the lights out.
Yeah, we can't have those LED lights on, man.
Yeah, homeschool.
I'm gonna die from the LED lights.
Homeschool loses shit if he finds out you've got using LEDs.
I've been reading more modern Lovecraftian stuff or Cthulhu Mythos stuff. There's a bunch. I read all the westerns.
You read David West, and
yes.
go read. I think I told you about it. Go read my friend Pete Rawlick.
Sounds familiar. What is his main character?
Cosmic horror. He deals with stuff that happened with Reanimator. He does a lot of Reanimator stuff. And I think it's Wingate Peasley, the Peasley papers. Peter, Peter, Rawlick, Rawlik. Pete.
Okay. RAWLIK. Awesome. All right, I see a bunch of stuff.
Get the Reanimators one. It's got sort of a pulp cover to it. It's kind of green and yellow.
Well, I see a few by him.
He's in a lot of anthologies as well.
Actually, it looks like he is in the
he's around
Book of Yig, Revelations of the Serpent, and this
he's down near you. He's down in West Palm Beach.
Well, if I'm ever out that way, I'll have to bring a print copy and have him sign it. Legacy of the Reanimator. I'm reading the second book in this. So there's this series. This Book of Yig is the third one, but the first two were on, I think, the Al-Azif, and then on Yog Sothoth. I read the whole Al-Azif thing.
Shub-Niggurath is good too.
They have one on that.
That monster. That's a monster.
I'm familiar with the Mother of 1,000 Goats.
Yep, shove it up your ass. That's a good play on words.
Yeah, I'll check that out because I've got the 3 books in this, and the third one has a story by him. But been reading. I've reread all of Lovecraft's stuff.
Good.
Which took forever, but I first read them in high school. I was really I used to show up for class with books by Stephen King, Clive Barker, and I would sit in class and read, and the teachers didn't really give a shit because if they called on me, I could answer questions anyways because I could pay attention and still be reading most of the time. And I had an English teacher come up to me after class one day, and he said, "You have to read this." And he gave me an anthology of Lovecraft stuff. Mm-hmm. And he told me, this is the guy that inspired Stephen King. So I'm like, all right, try it out. And it's just absolutely loved it. And some of those stories stuck with me. And like Mountains of Madness in particular. And then I couldn't remember the name. I can't remember the name, but the one where guy goes into that down deep in the earth through these tunnels into that subterranean place that
where his body was exchanged out of time.
Not that one. You're thinking of the one that goes way back.
That's where he goes to Australia.
Swapped with the
swapped with the
elder things or something. They kind of travel through. Yeah, he's in this really cramped space. Deep underground, like in the Arabian desert. God damn, I should know the name of this. And they're
in prison with the pharaohs?
That might be. There's an ancient in this race of reptilian, almost crocodile-like creatures, and he is way down in the space under the ground where they were. Damn it, I can't remember the name of the story, but rereading these, it really took me back to that. Now, a lot of these other guys, they're not Lovecraft. You don't get quite the same feel, but there's still a lot of thrills and a little bit of suspense in some of these stories. It's just been a lot of fun checking out some of this. But yeah, David West's stuff was, God damn it. And now I can't remember it's interesting. The cowboy that he based this stuff on
is a real dude. Yeah,
it's based on a real person.
Yeah,
Porter Rockwell.
Rockwell Porter or Rockwell. Yep.
I had no idea. I went and looked them up, but those are really fun stories. I wasn't expecting to like the westerns, but they were cool. Fun. They were a lot of fun.
They're just great mind candy. Yeah, they're good stuff.
The character was really likable too. So he did an excellent job with that.
Speaking of Lovecraft, if you like weird music, I'm playing right now something from the album called Necronomicon. This is called Thulu. It's from a I guess you call it a band called Nox Arcana. This is good background. Let me turn it up a little bit. This is good background music for games or if you're doing whatever.
Yep.
Let me play it again. Let me do which one?
I actually listen to quite a bit of that stuff when I'm kind of like crafting
Oh yeah.
indie campaigns, you know, to kind of get that
Mm-hmm.
feel to it.
Absolutely.
It's good
Yeah, it's
stuff.
good. It'd be good mood
Mm-hmm.
music.
Absolutely. It's called Nox. The group is called Nox, Nox, Arcana, Arcana.
Say it one more time. I'm looking up.
Nox, Nox, Arcana, Arcana, Nox Arcana, and this particular album is called Necronomicon.
There you go. Okay. Yeah, just sub to that. Take a look at it later.
There you go.
I got
This
it
is
up then.
this
You
is
know,
cool.
it would be fun to do maybe well, I don't know if it works as a workshop, but it would be fun to also do Call of Cthulhu.
Oh, I used to play Call of Cthulhu online games. That's how I mentioned this story before. That's how I got my start with social media. I was initially I was doing voice work for the Lovecraft e-zine, owned and operated by Mike Davis, and I was putting voice to short stories for him. I think they're still on his website somewhere. I can send links to if you want to listen to them.
Okay.
And he's like, "Oh, you want to play? We're going to run some Call of Cthulhu games live, like what we do when we play D&D, but just Call of Cthulhu." And I did that back in 2014, 15, and 16. That was fun. Those are great games. Yeah, they were. I have to get some links to those.
Do you use D&D rules for that, or
No, that's completely
a completely different game?
completely different game. Yeah.
I bought one of the Call of Cthulhu,
Sandy
it was
Peterson.
like a monster sort of thing for that. Just
Oh yeah, like an Arcana,
See if I can
like a
find it.
monster Arcana thing, a compendium.
Yeah, I was wondering because they have a lot of games that kind of roll with D&D rules, like Shadowrun and all that stuff. So.
Oh yeah. I mean, it obviously the mechanics are very similar.
It's this one.
Game. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep.
So it just says I don't know if there's different versions of this or whatnot. It just says Call of Cthulhu role playing game, but one of the guys from Jeffro's campaign had used this to kind of borrow some monsters and restat them for that. So I don't even know if this is like the whole game here or what. I didn't read the whole thing. I just skipped through to look at the monsters for inspiration from
Right.
stuff. I should probably. It looks like this is a self-contained. Anyways, if you guys want to do that too.
Yeah.
that'd
I
be-
also
that'd
want
be
to.
a whole lot of
I
fun.
know we've talked about it before, and Raul has mentioned he'd like to run the game. This is my original box set of Star Frontiers.
Well, that'd be fun too. Yeah, maybe we
love
could
that.
alternate. I'd keep running
D
D&D
and D in space.
and go back and forth through one D&D and one.
Is that what that is?
It's
Interesting.
essentially D and D in space. Yeah, TSR made it. This is from 1980, I think. 1980. Let's open up the box set. I still have the basic rules, and it's got the expanded game. Here's one of my characters. Logan is a human male. It's a character sheet. Here's one of the modules. Oh no, evil word module. Mutiny on the Eleanor Moraes. And then I've got Face of the Enemy. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it'd be fun to come back to this. It's a good game. It's all based off of it's a percentage dice, D10s.
You play a lot of tabletop?
I'm sorry, what was that?
You play a lot of tabletop?
As compared to computer games, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess when I'm saying tabletop, because D&D technically is. Play BattleTech? You play BattleTech?
I play BattleTech. My game. All right, here's a rundown of my games, starting from the 80s: Dungeons and Dragons, Star Frontiers, Call of Cthulhu, Ghostbusters for a while. I played. You just mentioned it. Futuristic game. Why is the name of it? No,
Warhammer.
No, not Warhammer. I played Warhammer Fantasy. No, where it's fantasy and kind of like cyberpunk mixed together.
Oh, I know what you're thinking, and now my brain it's got the elves and the dwarves.
Yeah, and the trolls. The what?
Shadowrun.
Shadowrun. Thank you. The original.
Yeah.
I don't know why I forgot the fucking name. I actually run the fucking games for fuck's sake. That's what happens, kids, when you get older. God damn, I ran Shadowrun for a while. What else? Call of Cthulhu. There's a few others in there that I can't remember, but less than a dozen games, really, but played them avidly. A friend of mine used to play
BattleTech. That was
BattleTech was great. I used to play that with a buddy of mine like 2 or 3 times a week, every week.
Used to play the Megamech. You did that before?
No,
Megamech
what's that?
servers. It's basically just BattleTech, but on the computer. So you can play it online.
Oh no!
You're on like a Java server, and they have the little pieces that you can move and stuff. It's the same as tabletop. It's just on the computer.
It's like a Roll20 kind of thing. All right, I've never done the electronic version, whether it was a computer game or a electronic tabletop of BattleTech. Although it's kind of cool.
I always like playing Word of Blake.
Nice.
So when a lot of people, well, I used to be clanner. I mentioned that before, but when playing the Jihad, I was a little bit more interested in Word of Blake because I think there's a little bit more strategy to it because they had like C3I computers and semi-guided ammo and things like that a lot of people didn't really know the rules to. So I'll take those in the battle, and people, man, they would get frustrated. Those rules, artillery down on their mechs and stuff. Those are fun days, though. Yeah.
I'll bet. No, Amos, Spelljammer is gay and garbage. That was during a time period when TSR/Wizards of the Coast was competing with itself for product. They were out of control with campaigns and game worlds.
What do you think about what's going on right now with that nowadays with this 6th edition? I guess they're starting to work on. You hear that stuff where they're talking about getting rid of half species or some shit?
Wizards of the Coast are infected with a bunch of, or I should say infested with a bunch of woke types. And so they're more interested in catering to these fucking deranged lunatics and their utterly fucking insane ideology than they are on making good role-playing games. So there's no reason for anybody to ever give Wizards of the Coast any more money for anything. Buy the older editions, buy 1st and 2nd edition, buy basic and what you can find for those online, and buy them used instead of going through retailers that give any money to Wizards of the Coast. And play those editions instead. Wizards has not come out with anything worth buying. Nothing they have done is worth giving them any money for. Just play 1st and 2nd edition and basic. You don't need anything new.
Shout out to Chris.
Everything that you need is right there in the core rule books for those older editions.
Correct. True, correct. And shout out to Chris, who says only faggots Only faggots and sailors play Spelljammer. That is spot on. Shout out to Amos. We should definitely pick up the Oriental Adventures handbook then.
I've got it.
There you go. Shout out to Slanty-Eyed Nips. We're not politically correct here at Masculine Geek, if you haven't noticed.
One of the old copies.
There we go. That's Amos right there. See, right there on the bull thing. Cat.
There he is.
That is.
That's him. If you look really closely, you can see the resemblance.
That's Amos right there.
Is that a full Asian or a half Asian?
That's a little bit. That's a half Asian.
Are you sure maybe this is Amos?
It could be with that special Asian dog. Can anyone name the music that I'm playing now? Come on, you nerds! Let's go. Let's do it. What am I playing now?
This is a good book. I don't know why they're having a fit about it.
It's a fantastic book. Like, and then you've got the Arabian Nights kind of thing. You've got Al-Qadim. There's fucking those ragheads, those towelheads. It's fucking fantastic. Love it. All right, no one knows it. All right, Amos has got it. Well, he knows it because I've played it before. He's never actually seen the cartoon, the animation.
No, Cowboy Bebop's awesome. I thought you were talking to the chat. So.
Well, I was talking to everybody. So, all right, Amos. Let's go even further. What's the name of the instrumental that I'm playing? What's the official title? You fucking nerd. Let's have it. Does sound a little bit like Lupin. All right. So Lupin the Third was a cartoon in the '80s, and that the same voice actor that did the voice for Rick Hunter did Lupin the Third.
Yeah, I don't recognize it.
All right, it's called Tank. God, you guys, I'm so disappointed in all of you. All right,
I've never heard of it.
Let's go with this one. This is an updated version. It's a version of the original. Come on. Put on your thinking caps. Came out in the 80s by Harmony Gold.
Robotech?
There you go. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah,
you have a winner.
It's been a long time since I've watched Robotech.
It doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
Not the Harmony Gold American version, anyway.
I heard they made a new thing for Robotech. I haven't seen it though. I don't know if it's any good.
Let's check it out.
Let's see if I can find it.
Sounds good.
All right. I think one of my favorite
Scratching really dates it.
Oh, it's a newer version of it. Somebody's custom. Yeah. Robotech's okay. It doesn't hold up to the dialogue is really kind of basic. I mean, the animation's okay as far as like that holds up, but the dialogue is just, and some of the scenarios and the romance between Min-Mei and Rick Hunter just is very grating. It's essentially an anime soap opera, literally.
I think the reason I like Robotech so much is just seeing the BattleTech mechs in it.
Oh, the mechs were fantastic. Yeah,
that's like the main
BattleTech, yeah.
reason. Seeing the Marauder and the Archer and Vader and stuff.
Yeah, it was so much fun. Yeah, and Amos, yes, I have. I actually liked the live action Speed Racer. I thought that was good fun. Just the color and the vibrancy of that movie, and it's just fucking goofy as hell. It's good fun. Racer X.
My favorite anime of all time is Fist of the North Star.
Now I'm gonna go with Vampire Hunter D.
That's pretty good too.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that.
but
for a
Fist of the North
long-
Star is good. Yeah, I'll give you that. Hell, I used to like the original Speed Racer cartoon. Fucking Chim Chim and everybody.
I think the reason I liked it so much is it was like one of the first, like kind of like Japanese animations I've ever watched, and it just kind of stuck with me.
Okay, and you grew up with it, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there was just so many damn episodes to it, and then it kind of like hit all the, spectrums when it comes to emotion, right? Thrill, sadness, anger, all that stuff. And that's how you make a good product, usually.
That's true.
Well, they kind of remove a lot of that stuff, and like even movies nowadays and whatnot.
Yeah. If you get a chance, go read the Japanese novel, and they're obviously translated to English. And I forget the name of the author, but what the Vampire Hunter D is based off of. I think there's like 20 or 25 novels. They're so good. It's basically Japanese pulp, the way it's written.
It's actually one of the things I've never really gotten into was mangas, is what they call it. Right?
So these are
hard to
no,
read.
no, these are no. Hang on. No, I'm not talking about I'm not comic book, not like graphic. I'm not talking about graphic novels. These are actually novels, like you read, and they're stories. But they read like pulp, like American pulp.
Interesting.
They're quick. There's a lot of dialogue and action, not a lot of exposition, not a lot of description, and it just flows very well. I completely agree with you, Amos. Absolutely deserves a sequel. Just some of the race scenes alone, with the cars like flinging each other around and then going up and down through the racetracks and the different environments and races they were in. Fantastic. I have to go back. You've inspired me. I'm going to go back and watch that this weekend.
I've never watched the D&D cartoon before.
The D&D cartoon it's ridiculous but fun. It's good, goofy fun. I grew up watching that, so I like you with certain anime. There's a special place in my heart for it in the time where it was released, because I had just been had started playing D&D with the Red Box set. Prior to that, I was playing the Dungeon board game and electronic D&D. So that came out around the same time. So I'll always watch it, even though it's you could call it crap. I still like it.
Probably the closest thing to D&D that I really liked that was an animation was Record of Motos-War.
Oh yes, absolutely, yeah.
Really fucking good.
Yeah, they their inspiration for that was the Dragonlance Chronicles.
Oh shit! I didn't know that, but it felt like it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there was if you buy the DVDs, there's some interviews at the end, the special like Easter egg stuff, where they're talking about that on stage at a convention, and they were completely inspired by Dragonlance Chronicles.
Nice. Yeah, they need more of that stuff. Like that stuff is just so good. That was probably one of the few animations I've watched multiple times.
Oh yeah, as likewise. I didn't like Volume 2 as much as I did Volume 1.
Right, I agree.
Yeah. They turned the
main characters. I wanted to see more of the main characters. Instead of kind of just showing up toward the end of the second season or whatever.
Yeah. Well, they also had the
side characters.
Oh yeah. No, the side characters were the man and the woman, and the dude was the berserker.
Yeah.
Orson, and then they turned him into this like emotional crybaby.
Yeah. Did he
Weishi
die?
kind
I
of
forget.
dude. I don't
I
think
think he died in the first
Did he?
season of the second. Well, yeah, the second.
I don't. At the end, maybe it just I didn't like the
It's been a
second
while.
the second volume was so bad. My memory's hazy on that. You could be correct. Yeah.
I think he just went kind of like apeshit berserk, if I'm not mistaken, and then the party continues without him or something.
Probably.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
He's like, yeah, complete crybaby. They turned him into a woman. All right, that's enough of Robotech. I must have that on loop. God damn. Let's put on some D&D. We're gonna wrap it up soon. I every time I say I'm gonna have a brief show.
I ended up seeing the D&D movie.
He's got to get Drew on here.
Well, that's it. Drew just talks and he just doesn't shut up. He just.
We have a good time. Where's my brew?
Go on about.
I know, right?
Talk about D&D all night.
You talk about exactly. No, I don't mind at all. So what did you think of the movie?
I went into it expecting it to be mediocre, and I was pleasantly surprised. It was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It ended up actually being a fun movie.
Okay.
It was. I was pleasantly surprised. I enjoyed the movie. I was very, very worried that there was going to be a lot of woke bullshit in it, but if there was, didn't really notice it. Just having too much fun with everything going on. I think they did a decent job.
Okay, I'll
some nice Easter eggs in there. I won't say anything.
Well, I heard about the D&D cartoon characters in the maze. I heard about that shit. Now, I don't mind if you tell me. Did they die? The D&D characters?
We don't find out.
I
don't think they do.
It's still kind of cool to know that they might be out there, still trying to find their way home.
Yeah, they are not. I'll just say this: their fate is. You don't know. You don't know what happens to them.
Okay.
They are not shown dying, but the impression is given that they don't. Based on the circumstances, you could infer that they did not, but there's no way to know because other things are happening. There's a lot happening. I don't want to spoil it, so I won't say too much more other than that there are some interesting twists, and they do a good job of incorporating the monsters that D&D stuff. Of course, if you've seen the trailer, you know that they've got the owl bear in there. They have a couple other iconic monsters. They didn't have some that I would have loved to have seen, but I don't think it would have fit with what they were doing. They had one that you kind of expect in a D&D game, but it was not how you would expect it, and it's kind of a neat twist on it. It was a fun movie. If you are gonna just not expect any, it's a fun popcorn fantasy adventure movie.
Okay.
I would actually go and see it again while it's in the theaters.
Oh shit! All right.
I hate the idea of any money possibly going to Wizards of the Coast at all for anything, but it was a fun movie. So I probably.
I don't think it's going to Wizards of the Coast so much as it's a Hasbro entity. I doubt it's going to even them.
They're kind of to blame. They really should. Hasbro should fire everybody at Wizards of the Coast and replace them with people that love the game. That Monkeys would do a better job running D&D than the Wizards of the Coast. At least
they should hire back all the old TSR staff that's still alive.
That's exactly what they should do.
That's exactly what they should do. And you can quote me on that.
Get rid of every woke type. Get rid of everybody who thinks that activism is more important than just making
activism is mentally ill bullshit.
Exactly. They should be their primary focus should not be on preaching silly woke bullshit. It should be on creating a fun tabletop fantasy adventure role playing game.
Yeah. Have you ever sat around the table with some woke folks playing D&D? It's not fun.
We got rid of them after about 2 sessions. With this,
it's not fun.
I used to have a group here up until the one of my clients and his wife hosted, and I was DMing, and we had a couple people. We usually had 5 or 6 people playing, and some people would come and go as usually work stuff or school stuff. So occasionally we'd have to, we'd look for new players, and anybody that was going to come play with us, before they were invited to come to the house where we were doing this, because they're bringing them into this house, not our house, but a friend's house, we would meet them at Starbucks first, not too far away, and just sit down and say, this is what we're doing. So what are you interested in? And if it sounded like it was a good fit, and if we thought that they were okay, we'd say, all right, well, this is where we're going to be having the next game, and this is the time that we have it. And one time we didn't meet these people to vet them first, and they ended up being this 20-something really fucking woke couple. And I should say woke. They gave that sort of impression, and they were just kind of whiny and annoying, and very much what
they often do not bathe.
Well, I think they bathed, but it wasn't a hygiene issue.
Not
just sort of an annoying issue. But they were what would now be called sparkle trolls in terms of their backstory. And the guy had his edgy female elf ranger who was a loner and would always want to go off and do completely different shit than what the rest of the group was doing, which I still remember the session where it was their last session, because they were getting really upset because they didn't know how to play the fucking game, and because we were using 5e at the time, but we were all coming from like older editions, so we threw out a lot of shit, like death saving throws and stuff like that, and made it harder. And they were getting really frustrated because they couldn't think their way out of a situation that anybody with any fucking tactical sense, not even actually, and I'm not saying that they had to have some sort of military training, saying anybody who is not an imbecile should have figured out how to get out of this situation. I was giving hints, but they were going through this cavern system. There was a bunch of stalagmites and stalactites, and there were goblins that ambushed them from the sides behind stalagmites, were shooting them with arrows. And these characters, the whole group, that everybody was powerful enough that they should have been able to handle this. Some of them did, but these two just didn't know what the fuck to do with their characters. And they kind of panicked and tried to run forward. Well, stalagmites and stalactites, gotta watch out for ropers. And if they had been paying attention, I did mention, because I try to foreshadow this shit, that they did notice a big fucking pile of goblin bones in different places as they were coming, and there was one on the floor ahead of them.
That was in my campaign too, a big pile of bones.
You gotta foreshadow stuff like that, give people a hint that they need to be looking around sometimes. Anyways, they were getting really frustrated, and I didn't give a shit, because it's just like, what, fuck. I didn't say, fuck you guys, you fucking imbeciles, but they were not very bright, and they didn't have any idea what the fuck they were doing. And I think in retrospect, I think they were coming from is they might have played other 5e games where they were basically handheld and they had plot armor, and the DM has the story that they're telling together. It's not a game. They're acting out a story. They're not really playing because the dice don't have real fucking consequences. And so they probably expected the same thing and didn't realize, why is my character going to die here? And so they just ghosted on the next session. And eventually I got an email from them. They're like, well, we don't think this is for us here. We're just really not having fun, blah, 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 like whatever. So we had their characters brutally killed by the goblins in the next session. And
sounds about right.
Yeah, that's like it was pretty gruesome, but they kind of their PCs nobody really missed them. I think everybody just kind of looted the bodies and they just kept going.
Yeah, when you're a DM, you want to make it challenging, but you tend to know what their abilities are, and you want them to try to use those abilities, like try to think out the scenarios.
I'm not trying to kill players. I'm trying to present them with a challenge. So the balance is it has to be challenging enough that it's not boring, but not so challenging that it becomes frustrating. Too difficult, it's frustrating. Too easy, it's boring. You've got to stay somewhere in between there. And also, I think what a lot of people forget, especially now because there's so much emphasis on balance, is that you're not supposed to balance the gameplay at all. There's no fucking balance. You roll and see what the fuck happens, and you plan these situations. And sometimes the situation is way too dangerous for the players, and they just need to recognize it.
Exactly.
We can't deal with this, and they run. But you can't just throw them into it without giving them hints so they can recognize this. Sometimes the players run into something that isn't a challenge for them, and they just fucking steamroll it. And this is best when it's something that they had difficulty with previously, because it gives them a chance to experience how much more powerful they've become. And this is also why you occasionally have to have things in the game that are too powerful for them. They're not meant to be able to get past everything. They come across this monster or a situation. The fucking, there's 200 something goblins coming through the woods, and they're like, we're not going anywhere near this. They should know we got to fucking run. But then at some future time when they come back and they're like, okay, well, this is how we're going to deal with this. They have the ability, they've learned some things. It gives them a greater sense of satisfaction because we would have run from this, a couple months ago. Now we're able to handle this. And one of the things that I've done before doing this is, if you want to show the players that something is way the fuck out of their league, when they encounter it, for example, if the players just had a very difficult fight with a particular monster and they're going into this area, they find a half-eaten corpse of this monster that just nearly kicked their ass, and another one, just bones and a few more in various states of decay all around. Something is killing and eating this thing that they barely survived fighting. So obviously they don't want to fuck with whatever this is. But just as an example of how you can do that, I think these people expected that they were going to just kind of be acting out a story and not actually playing a game where there is a chance of failure. So that was the first and last time that we ended up with any woke types at the table. There was not a lot of talk. That I'm inferring from some other things that's how they were. But if anybody started bringing up any of that shit, they're like, you know what, that's not what we're here to talk about. We're going to play the fucking game. If you want to,
Blake just made my night. He
talk about that stuff.
He pegged you as older than me.
I am, I think.
No, I'm 53.
You are? Oh.
Yeah. I usually get around.
I thought you were younger than I am.
I usually get around the 40s, which is fine. I'd say it's clean living, but that would be a lie.
I'm the young guy here.
You're like what, 20?
37.
37. Okay.
Yeah. I get that a lot.
Who is commenting there? Chris. Yeah. If you're inviting people to your house, or you're going to somebody's house, you gotta vet them first.
Yeah. You have to vet. You really do.
Or you could There are. Well, here's the thing, though. We started out meeting at a game store not too far from here in Maitland, Florida. But sometimes when we would go there to play, they would have Magic the Gathering tournaments. And we were trying to play D&D, and some fucking guy in the store is using the PA system to call out whatever the hell's going on with their Magic stuff. I wasn't paying attention, but it was obnoxious because I'm trying to talk over this. And it was so loud with so many people playing. And the store starts to smell a little weird on Magic the Gathering days. It's so we moved it to a Starbucks. And Starbucks was actually, we would go to Starbucks and they had this long table and we were setting up and we were not bringing a ton of stuff, but we were playing D&D at Starbucks. And there was a couple times where people would come in and get coffee and we'd be playing and they'd just be hanging out and listening to the game while we were playing. We ended up with a little bit of an audience. And so that was always kind of fun. But the problem is as you know, sometimes say fuck a lot when depending on how things are going with roles and whatnot. So I had to be a lot more careful about that with people bringing their kids in and shit because I didn't want Starbucks kicking us out. The Starbucks people were cool that they actually thought it was great too because they said, we're like listening to the games while you guys are
bringing in business
doing it here. But we finally decided, what, this is easier and we have more table space, a little more comfortable just going to their house was just a little ways away. And this was after the first month or two they were playing. They got a little bit more comfortable with the other people that we invited that were playing with us. So they were okay having us move it to their house. But after that, always met people at that Starbucks to vet them before we brought them over, except for that one couple that was a mistake, unless it was somebody that we knew. But sometimes you meet people and they're just cool. And you never know. You end up with getting really interesting people coming into a group like that. And sometimes they're just weirdos. And not in a fun, quirky, creative, weird, they bring something interesting to the game kind of way, but just kind of, I'm going to make sure that I keep my pistol on me when they're at the table kind of weird. So you never invite them over unless you vet them first.
Correct. All right, we are over the 2-hour mark, which is kind of cool. It's always fun talking nerd shit with you guys.
I'm excited to dig into the Rolex. Is it? I ordered
Peter Rolex. R-A everyone. Peter. I'm sure I don't Rawlik. No C. With the K. Rawlik with the K. I met him through the Lovecraft e-zine, and I attended several Necronomicon conventions in Providence, Rhode Island with him. We're still friends.
Well, yeah, the book that I got from him is Reanimators.
Yeah, start with that one. That's so good.
So I got it on my iPad, so I will start reading that as soon as I'm done with the one that I'm on now, which had a story. The one with the Yog Sothoth that had one of David West's stories in there.
Cool,
which was really good.
Nice. All right, let's call it a wrap. If no one else has any questions in the chat, which I hope you don't, because I'm fucking tired.
They're just going to have to save their questions for next time.
Exactly, before or during before the D&D game, not during it, because we're not going to answer your questions during the D&D game, unless someone in the chat can answer your question. So, Jesse, where can everyone find you?
Yeah. So, I'm pretty active on Twitter. So, rough_SC2. So, I play StarCraft 2 for a living as an entertainer on Twitch. So, that's Twitch rough_stuff_TV.
All right.
Probably be doing that right after here.
Cool. Head over there. And also, you're playing D&D characters in both Drew's and Raul's campaign here on Mask and Geek.
Yep. On Wednesdays.
Indeed. That's right.
Yep. Next Wednesdays.
Next Wednesday will be Drew's campaign. We continue with that. And Drew, where can everyone find you?
They can find me at baye.com, and that's BAYE. And they can find me Twitter at Baye Drew, YouTube Drew Baye, Instagram Drew Baye, Drew Baye or Baye Drew, and all these places.
Awesome. All right, everyone who's listening, has stuck with us this far or has listened later to the replay this far, thank you very much, because it's very rare. I think the average duration of any YouTube is about 15 minutes to a half an hour. So if you've made it this far, I salute you, and we appreciate it. So next week, next Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, will be Drew Baye's campaign here at Masculine Geek. So mark your calendars, be ready. Get your beverage and join us in a week. So until then.